There is a familiar comfort that comes every night when thought dissolves and your personal story fades. For a few hours, no effort remains, no memories, no plans, only a quiet ease that feels like a return to something familiar. Yet you wake up in the morning and that peace disappears the moment the mind starts working again. What is that happiness in deep sleep, and why does it slip away so easily? Before we answer, remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment. Welcome. This is Richard Clarke. Today we look at verse 15 of Tattva Bodha, where Shankara details the sheath of bliss. The bliss sheath, Anandamaya Kosha, is formed of latent impressions. It is experienced in deep sleep as happiness, yet it is not the true self. This verse points to something you already know directly. Each night you enter a state where the usual pressures of life fall away. There is no body awareness, no emotions, and no activity of the thinking mind. What remains is a quiet, contented darkness that feels like rest at the very core. According to Shankara, that subtle ease is produced by latent impressions that temporarily stop troubling you. In other words, the bliss sheath does not arise from the self. It comes from the absence of disturbance, not from the presence of truth. The bliss sheath is subtle, but it is still part of the mind structure. It has a beginning and an end. It appears when the mind becomes dormant and disappears when the mind restarts. Anything that comes and goes cannot be the self. Yet deep sleep hints at something permanent. You do not say, I slept deeply and did not exist, but rather, I slept well. Someone was present enough to claim the experience afterwards. The one who knows the absence of thought never changes. This verse invites you to notice that the witness of deep sleep is constant, while the bliss sheath is temporary. By seeing this distinction, you begin to notice that the quiet comfort of deep sleep is only a faint reflection of something far deeper. The self is present in the waking state, the dream state, and deep sleep. The bliss sheath is present only in one of them. That difference matters very much. The self is the unbroken presence. The sheath is an appearance. For you, this verse gives you clarity about where true peace actually comes from. The ease of deep sleep is attractive, but do not mistake it for realization. The bliss sheath depends on conditions. The self depends on nothing. If your peace requires the shutdown of the mind, it will always be unstable. You cannot live your life inside deep sleep. You also live in waking life with choices, responsibilities, and relationships. The verse points you towards a stable ground that is available even when the mind is active. This distinction helps you avoid the common trap of chasing pleasant states. Temporary peace, no matter how subtle or soothing, is not the goal. You're invited to look for the one who knows every changing state. That witness is constant in every experience, pleasant or unpleasant. As you stay with that recognition, you begin to see that the bliss sheath is simply another layer covering the self. It is more refined than the physical body or the thinking mind, but it still veils the truth. When you understand the difference between deep sleep comfort and the unchanging self, you stop reaching for experience and start resting in awareness. This brings a grounded, dependable stillness into your daily life. You see that you do not need a particular state to know the self. You are already aware of every state. That shift is the heart of practice. Here's a self-inquiry. What remains constant in waking, dreaming, and deep sleep that cannot be affected by any state? Let the meaning settle gently. Notice the difference between temporary comfort and the steady presence that witnesses every moment of your life. Rest in that steady presence. If this reflection helps you, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment. Stay sincere, stay steady, and keep turning inward. Namaste.